Alright, I think we're live. I don't actually ever know when this thing actually goes live. There's probably a delay or something, but we should be live. Woo! Episode
Hello.
4
Yes.
podcast.
Podcast yet again.
Uh
All right.
huh.
Got
As
my silver
usual,
sword.
numbers got the map set up for us, so that's awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
numbers.
I mean, I have this server. I might as well do something with it.
Yeah. No, it looks nice. We'll be able to go through the stuff that we've done the past two legs. We didn't have it for the first leg, but it's okay
Mhm.
because this is what matters now. We learned as we go with these podcasts. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
first leg didn't even really have a download either because it was a very early version of the Flu map. So it would
Hello
have looked.
bean, hello cheese, and yeah,
Uh,
exactly. It wouldn't have worked out. But yeah, so we'll have a guest in the second half of this. So we're gonna just go with our usual formula of going through the leg, giving our insight, and then having the guest come in and say whatever they want about anything. But yeah, so do you want to start us off, numbers, with the beginning of the leg?
yeah. Okay. So we were all in a pit, and it was 2 blocks deep. So we were all jumping. You see that in the video. We're trying to see what's going on, see as much as we can before the leg. We don't actually get told what the setting of the map is, so we just got to see this view of the map, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a good way of simplifying it. I've noticed that Billy does a lot of fantasy kind of maps, like castle medieval type, not a
Mm-hmm.
lot of modern stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Um, I don't really remember, but everyone was like, in the video was saying, "Hey, we know where the pit stop is. It's at the start." So did we figure that out too? I mean, we even said that. When did we know that the pit stop was at the start? Like, I don't know. Did it say that in the
We
clue
were
or something?
we were looking around, and I think we saw some ladders over
Okay.
here.
Oh, that's
Or
right.
yeah, because we could
Yeah.
jump and we could see ladders off in the distance from where we
Yeah,
were
there were like
standing.
ladders on his leg or something, and while we were over here waiting, because we were last place the leg before this,
Yeah.
so we were the last ones to be released, as usual with our team. Um, but we were just looking around, looking at everyone, and then we saw the ladders, so we were just like, oh yes,
Yeah.
that's probably where we're meant to go. That's why everyone kind of knew too. I mean, there was conspicuous ladders at the top, so we're like, ah. This bridge was apparently destroyed because this is the actual map, without adding the challenges and stuff. So in the actual video, this was destroyed. So I guess they just decided to just break it for reasons and make it a little bit more difficult. And that's actually where we passed all the other teams except for blue team.
Yeah.
They failed at the parkour, but I'm so good at parkour and so is numbers. So we just like
Yeah.
ace that.
First
And,
try, we didn't
and
even
as you
fall.
can tell by the leg, we definitely kept that lead, right? Yeah.
Most definitely, yes. No problems whatsoever.
And as you'll notice, it was only one mistake this leg. We didn't do too bad. Like we figured out things pretty fast. But yeah, you got this path mapped out for us. Nice.
Yeah,
So,
so we were searching for a pumpkin stall based off of the clue, and we took a route that kind of looks like this based off of our video. We looped through here, and then we see Eglin and Unique. They are at some place over here stationary, and I'm like, okay, let's go check this out. And it's the pumpkin stand
hmm
right here.
so the only clue we were given for this was top to bottom, which we eventually figured out. But I think it was this one right here. There's a pumpkin right here that said 1-6 that we didn't see for a while because we were just looking at the center, right, trying to figure out the chords from that.
Yeah, we found the first two coordinates, and it was like, if you open up your F3 menu right now, it was something like 300, 640, and then like 35. And we thought, wow, that's over 1,000 blocks away. That seems pretty far. But we're going to head there. Let's go. And then we came back later and
Yeah,
figured
once
out the
we
clue.
saw the chords and we realized that's a really far length, we kind of figured, yeah, it's probably not right. So we came back and looked around for a little bit, and before someone said in the chat, which we'll go over in a second, we figured it out on our own, right? I think.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
came back on our own. And then as we were walking away, I noticed, oh, they said the coordinates in chat.
Okay, so pretend these are pumpkins for a second. There was, if I remember, three pumpkins at the top. Then there was like two right here. It doesn't really matter, but there's three, two, and then there was like three. Was there three or two pumpkins in the bottom row? I thought there was three in the bottom row, right? It was
Three,
like,
because it was 1-6, and then I think that they were all outside. I don't remember one being on the inside.
yeah. So basically, it was just one, two, three numbers. Which, for those who don't really know where chords are, it's in this jumble of numbers that you see. It's in the left hand side. I don't know if you can see it, but it's where X, Y, Z are. So the top numbers, which is like 3 different numbers, was the X coordinate. The bottom, or the 2 right here, because you're going in like order of top to bottom, was the 2 numbers for the Y coordinate. And then there was 2 numbers here, 1 number there, 1 number there, which is 4 numbers for the 3rd coordinate, which is the Z. So that's kind of how we figured that out. And at the same time, it wasn't really shown because chat isn't really shown, but blue team accidentally just straight up said the coordinates in chat. So as we were going away, we were like, wait a second, they said it in chat. We could have just looked there.
Yeah. They actually said it though. It's on the footage. They're like, "Oh no, I accidentally hit enter and it went into chat."
Yeah, that was a mistake. So technically, everyone should have gotten through this pretty fast. We have some questions from the chat.
Alrighty.
From Bean, we'll probably answer this one a little bit later. How do you feel about stealing a horse? That's a fun one. Yu-Gi-Oh! Revolution's like, yeah, good old Unique. Most were inside, but a couple were outside. Yeah, yeah. So we were mostly just looking at the ones inside first. We were a bit confused, but once we saw the outside ones, it's pretty fine. And then, yeah, that was pretty straightforward, just going to the chords, and I'm assuming you had that marked out, right?
Yep, the Magenta Route. This actually did not get shown hardly at all, so I kind of had to guess what the route was. But based
Okay.
off of where we came in, we took this. It's quite a lengthy route, and we just kind of like clipped there in the video.
And we were actually doing pretty good at this point, too. Like,
Yeah.
everyone was close together. We found the chords. There was really no division at this point between the teams. Like, even black and orange team, who failed the little water area and were seen swimming back, they were right there with us. It was all 4 teams at the chords, and we pretty much left at the same time, which, with the exception of, I think, black team, who took a little while longer, which is a bit surprising considering it was said in chat. So I'm not really sure why they didn't see that, but whatever. Go jump on the roof, lol. Nice.
Yep. And
So, yeah,
then we had to go this way.
Yeah, so we saw this sign, which I think this was the exact coordinates right here, right? Or something?
Yep, the clue's actually up in this tower up here.
Yeah, so the clue's up there. So that was the coordinates, and we were told that we had to go up there. So it's basically like, find your way up. Nice.
Yep. And then we went this way and we passed by the graveyard. And again, it isn't shown in the video, but we somehow found a way up onto the roofs here.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not the one who found the way up. Surprising, I know. Me not finding something? What a shock. But as I was looking around, Numbers was the one who found the graveyard. He's like, hey, I think I know a way to get up to the rooftops. There is probably multiple ways to get up to the roofs. I mean, as you can see, there is a lot of houses here. So there was many different directions you could have gone, but, I mean, we went to the cemetery because why not? that's how we got up, and then it was pretty much just rooftop parkour, which in the video we're like, memories, because we're referencing the last episode where a lot was cut out again. We talked a little bit in our last podcast where we were struggling on the rooftop parkour, trying to figure out where to go, and that's why Numbers is like, this is more straightforward, because, you know.
Yeah, and we know that this was a correct route because there were some holes punched into the roofs just so that you could perform some of these jumps.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they thought through a lot of the different routes, and that made a job a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Yu-Gi-Oh's like, oh, so that's how the chords figured it, or worked out. I never figured it out. Yeah, so it was just top to bottom. It was pretty simple. It was even between everyone except E-Girl Slayers. Yeah, yep. Orange, us, and blue were pretty much doing the same thing there, except for E-Girl Slayers. And actually, at this point, I think we took a little bit too long to find this clue, because I don't remember seeing anyone around here.
No,
Like, when we got the clue.
Orange and blue definitely had a lead on us while we were trying to find a way up. That did cost us a little bit of time. I think they had a much easier time getting up here, getting the clue, and then continuing.
Yeah, so once we got the clue...
You know, we just hopped down off of the roof.
This was the detour, right? Or no?
Yes, that was the one where you had to shoot the water. We just went straight for the first option. We didn't even bother. Did we consider the boat fishing rod thing?
Okay, I actually don't know quite. Also, why did we choose the one challenge that had to do with looking for things? I don't... We've never found anything so far.
Experience. I mean, okay, so the fishing rod... Okay, so think about it this way. The parkour with fishing rod, we just came out of last lake. We were not doing too well with the whole parkour situation. I think that we would have chosen this regardless, because this seems much easier than trying to attempt parkour of any sort of form.
Yeah, and the fishing rod, as you saw in the video, only the black team tried it out, and they gave up on it. It looked very difficult, to be fair. Fun, but difficult with the fishing rods and stuff.
Yeah.
Hashtag read your clue. I think we did read our clue, though. We just didn't like the second challenge. We were like, yeah, it doesn't sound very fun.
So you had to
says they're
climb
better
up
at
the scaffolding up here.
scaffolding. Wait, where are you? Oh, this scaffolding. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. You guys like, I'm better at tree core than roof core. Sure. I'm trying to think of what I would be better at. The tree parkour in the leg one was rough, but rooftop parkour, we did fine.
I think
here,
it's
I guess.
just because the rooftop parkour, it has checkpoints in a way. Like if you fall down, you can go and you can retry. With the tree parkour, you fall, you have to start all over again. With parkour, it's a challenge not of what the jumps are, it's how many of the jumps are consecutively thrown together at a parkour course without checkpoints.
Yeah. Bean is also asking another question that we will probably go over later. How do you feel about Melon Chess 2.0? Our little remark about that.
My goodness. Okay.
It wasn't as bad, but we'll get into that a little bit. I don't think it's around here quite yet.
We're getting close to it, but
okay. Let's see. They didn't give up. They got kicked off. Well, they gave up and then made themselves get kicked off. They kind of like just broke the rules on purpose. That's all. They're like, "Oh, you see me cheating now?" It was kind of funny. George, what's up? I think me and Stig were first there. Okay, yeah, probably. Like we said, we didn't see you or blue team. So if you were first to the clue, then there you go. That would explain things. So yeah, this is. Personally, I'm biased because it was my part of the video. I just like the way, even at the time, I felt like pretty I don't know, confident and stuff. So I get up here, you're reading the clue to me. As you're reading the clue, I just grab the bow and immediately hit the arrow or hit the button on the first try. I'm like, all right, I got it. What's next? It's just like, it's just funny. I'm climbing up here. You're reading the clue like, okay, you gotta grab the bow, you gotta shoot the water. I'm like, okay, arrow, boom, done. Next, what's next?
Yeah,
it felt pretty good.
Momentarily confused because it said shoot the button of our color, and there were no colors.
Yeah, and then I'm like, it's fine, I got it. Just look for the one that's coming down right now. So yeah, first try, that was pretty good. Yu-Gi-Oh's like, oh my goodness, it's the podcast guest from last week, George. The famous George is here. Look at that, George, you're famous. Yeah, you and Stig were first to the clue in Detour, I believe. Cheese is like weird flex, but okay. Hey, you know what? I'm good with a bow and arrow, right? Probably not. Actually, I'm decent.
So if we hop down here, I was showing you the different banner types, just holding them in my hand, telling you, oh, it looks like this, and this, and this. And then we go off and we find them. Thankfully, there weren't like decoy banners. I think that would have been a sneaky little trick.
Okay, so this challenge, not my best. Just want to say that. As you saw in the video too, there were a couple moments, at least one, where the camera's literally showing a banner that's right in front of my face and I don't see it. But whatever. You know what? It's like in a ditch somewhere. I wonder if they made the ditch or if it's around here somewhere.
It's like a tree route. If you teleport to me right now, I'm right at it.
Okay, so it's right here. I was standing like right. How did I not see that? I don't even know. Like I'm jumping around here and I don't even look down and see. It's like right there. How did I not see the banner? I don't think did I find any banners? Oh, I found one. You found the rest, I'm pretty sure. I think.
Did you find the one that was up in the castle
Yeah,
area?
that's the only one I saw. So I was like right here or whatever, and I'm like, yo, I see one. I don't have Optifine. And obviously, some of you guys might not know what Optifine is. Optifine is like an application, a mod of sorts that you can put into your computer for Minecraft. And it basically, long story short, allows you to zoom in, among other things. But you can zoom in. So when I say, oh, I don't have Optifine, I'm saying I can't like zoom in to go see over there. And because the banner was very far away and I couldn't quite tell what block was under it, which it ended up being a lapis block because that was like the only option for a dark blue. But I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a lapis block, but I couldn't tell for sure. Cheese is like, yeah, that was really rough when you walk past the banner. I know. The camera didn't really show numbers too much, but he definitely was, again, the MVP here trying to find everything. You see, whenever it's down to finding things, it's usually Numbers who takes charge and is like, I'm gonna go find it. It's okay, Roller. I'll do it for you.
Yeah, I know that I found at least 2 of the banners. Did you find the one that was by the docks? The one in the water?
this challenge is kind of lost to me. I do remember finding the one in the castle, but was I was behind here a lot. I don't think there's none back here. I'm pretty sure you found pretty much all of them except for the one that I found.
Okay, and I don't think that either of us found the tree stump one because our tactic was find 4 of them, then we know what the last one is by process of elimination.
And we could have just found 3 and then guessed 2. That's what blue team did, but we didn't really think of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was no penalty for guessing, which makes it a lot easier.
This challenge had Dwarf Mine vibes from Minecraft Raven. I've never watched Minecraft Raven. Have you watched Minecraft Raven?
I took a look at Minecraft Raven for a little bit, but I'm not able to quote or cite anything from the show. Before going into this, I watched a few of Billy's game shows just to kind of like get an idea of what I was preparing myself for. And I mean, it's similar, but this is like a huge step up in quality of like, I'm amazed with how they incorporated things into the maps, and the challenges were just so fun.
Yeah, okay, we got a lot of comments and stuff, so I want to go through and see. She's,
all right.
Yeah, she's like, numbers basically found all the banners. Yep. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh was our first podcast guest. He was Wolf, for those who don't know. Pay attention to details like a banner. Hey, you know what? Cut me some slack, alright? Trying my best. Jesus is mocking me, saying, eyes 100. Yeah, I know. I have 10 out of 10 vision. Numbers found 3. Okay, so then if numbers found 3, then I must have just... Yeah, there you go. Numbers found 3, I found 1, and then we guessed on the last one. Didn't you guys find 3 and then go to solve? No. I don't think we did, because we might have, but I'm pretty sure...
I found the one on the scaffolding, which was like the red and yellow. I know that one of us found the one on the dock. You found the one in the castle, and then the one on like the gazelle one was on a cart, and we found that one.
Okay. So yeah, I found 1. I'm putting in the work, guys. Don't worry. Should have just watched the teams place down the banners. Yeah, okay. We also didn't realize that the banners would just be chilling out here for anyone to copy. So if we would have known that, we would have finished it a lot sooner.
I think that would have been something where Billy would have penalized us, though, for not actually looking for the banners and just copying off of other people's homework.
Yeah, true. That might have actually been a penalty because, I mean, that's kind of cheating. Speaking of cheating, we were trying to be smart, you know, when we destroyed the banners. So we had to go into survival mode. And, you know, it was a good idea. It just wasn't great execution. Because our thought was, well, 2 teams have finished. We don't know where black team is. If they end up coming to this detour, we don't want them seeing 3 sets of completed banners. So we just destroyed them. And which actually, this ended up working.
It did end up
the more I think about it, I think it actually helped us stay ahead of black team for how long they spent in the banner area.
Yeah, because you commented like, oh, they're not even here. But I'm like, oh, well, we should do it anyways just in case they switch. And so, they switched.
Yeah, even though Karma bit us in the back, it ended up working a little bit. But yeah, the reason why we have so many problems a little bit later is because we were both in survival. And actually... As I was listening to the back, it looked hurt. It like kind of hurt because I could tell numbers you were legitimately mad at me. Like that's the first time I think you were ever mad at. If you listen to your tone, you were actually mad that I was in survival, and I felt like watching it back. I feel so bad.
I think I was just upset that we both didn't change our game mode.
Yeah. Like if you hear his tone, he's like, "Why are you in survival mode?" I'm like, "I don't know."
It's because we were both breaking the banners.
Yeah.
Oh man. So the sword in the dirt, the silver sword that I'm holding right now, we had to follow these, and there was one over here that just completely did not catch our eye. I think it was like over in this area.
Definitely over here. And again, this is another thing they cut out, but we spent a lot of time here. Because it was like one right here. I actually remember exactly. One right here. The second one was right in here. And we didn't know where the third one is. So we were looking everywhere around here for the third one. But after a while, I even mentioned, I started realizing something. I'm like, okay, the distance from here to here is not that great. If they're going to be that common, then there's no way we should be looking all the way around. So then I started looking closer, and I actually found something, guys. I just realized that. So I, making up for my failure in the banner section, actually found the sword that was just over here. I'm like, oh, it is over here.
Observational clues. And then all of the interiors of these buildings were not built, so we just kind of have to fly up over here.
Oh, they built all this.
Yeah,
Oh wait, yeah, this is a little tower area, and that was not built. So apparently Billy and their production team were the ones who made that. That's kind of cool.
and we were
There's a
climbing
couple settings.
ladders, going up this tower, and then we come out on the bridge up here.
And it's just basically following the swords and stuff. She says that was smart destroying the banners. Yep, my team did not get one. Wait, I don't remember what do you mean, George? What part of you did not get? Oh, you didn't get a banner. Okay, so you just guessed with that one or whatever. You wouldn't have been penalized if it's the other team's fault for not destroying them. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I could have just seen that as like a smart play for just copying. I don't know. We'll never know because no one did it. It was 2000 IQ play until you both forgot to change off survival. Yeah, we did have a good idea for destroying the banners, and then it didn't. Cheese is like classic not reading clues / signs. Yeah, this
Oh
is
man.
funny because in leg 1 we had the same problem of not changing game modes, and Billy after that leg was like we were in the call because obviously there's stuff going on outside of like the actual recording sessions. Billy's like, okay guys, you gotta remember to change your game modes. Like it's gonna hurt you. Like he made sure everyone knew, and we still end up not doing it in this I don't know. It's kind of easy to forget, I feel like, though, too. Especially since we weren't doing it for the challenge. We were doing it to destroy the banners. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think we both went into adventure, and then we both hit the button, and then started breaking banners.
Mm-hmm.
If only one of us had broken the banners, I think that it's still like the other person could have done the levitation, and that would work completely fine.
Yeah. Numbers played fortune teller. He called e-girl switching detours. Yeah, no, Numbers definitely called that one. Uh, as we just went over a little bit earlier, because Black Team had to switch detours, and that actually ended up hurting them a little bit because they didn't have any other banners to go off of.
Yeah.
I found it was so funny that y'all had to be an adventure and you were in survival. Yeah, there is actually a little bit cut out there too, which we're going to next, I guess. But we were quite confused for a while, and we stood there for probably like I don't know, a couple minutes, not that long, maybe just only a minute. Just like, why isn't it working? We didn't realize that we had to be adventure right away. I think someone said something in chat. I'm not sure about like, oh, we have to be an adventure for it to work, if I remember, or do we figure it
Yeah,
out ourselves?
I think that was actually said in chat.
Yeah, because we were very confused. Both of us were like, oh, you know what? This is exactly what happened. A bit embarrassing thinking back on it now that I just remember. We said in chat, we're like, the the detour or whatever, roadblock, we were like, it's not working. That's literally what we said. Like, guys, the
Yeah.
roadblock's not working.
And then in response, they
And
were
then we
like,
just
"Oh,
get roasted. They're like, are you guys in adventure mode? And we're like, I'm not in adventure mode. Are you in adventure mode?
oh no, why are you not in adventure mode, roller?"
uh, yeah, that's yeah, you're right, Yu-Gi-Oh. It is a miracle that I found something. I contributed to finding something. It's crazy.
Oh, you were the parkour genius though when it comes to this kind of stuff.
George is like, I did not get penalized for copying blue. So there you go. No penalties for copying. So it really should have been on them to destroy the banners.
Yeah, of course. Going back up here, Billy had us go up and down the roofs, through the caves, but in the actual map itself, you're just following up the staircase here. There's no obstacles in the way of that.
Yeah, we were just going more rooftop parkour basically through the the swords, just following it. It was pretty chill at this point. This was before our realization that we failed at everything. So we were just kind of following the swords. We were like, oh yeah, we're fine then, we're fine then. We're doing good, we're doing good. And what did you mark here?
This is Melon Chest 2.0, so we get to the swords, and it's like somewhere around here is the final clue.
Okay.
And we're
Oh,
like,
that's
oh, Melon
right.
Chest 2.0. I
The reason
realized
why
that we comment on our failures quite a bit. I say Melon Chest 2.0, you say rooftop parkour quite a bit.
we have lots of callbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we saw the sign that said it's somewhere around here, we're like, oh no. That is the last thing we want to hear is it's somewhere around here.
And there's not even an indicator to say, oh, don't go past this area. So we could have been here for a long time, but I think we actually found this fairly quickly.
I don't remember. Oh, Numbers is the one who found this one, by the way, guys. Again, I'm useless when it comes to finding things. It was a tower, wherever it was. Was it the tower you marked, or?
Yes, there
No?
was,
Oh, it was
a water stream going up the very center of
Yeah,
it.
there is just a water tower, and then he found the clue. And at this point, he tells me, "Oh, roller, it's like in a tower with water." It took me a while to find this tower. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I didn't know where I was going. This whole leg, I'm just lost, which is why I don't remember much of this leg, or I didn't remember much of this leg when I was watching it. it didn't make sense before we started watching Amazing Grace. Like, why can't I remember episode 4? The reason I can't remember episode 4 is because Numbers was the one doing everything.
That among other reasons, I guess. But going forward here, there's like the purple carpets. We hopped along the tree line, and then eventually we hopped down. I'm guessing our route just a little bit to the angel statue because it wasn't shown on video, but we tend to follow directly to the coordinates as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we will cross a mountain if that's the direct path to the coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the angel statue. There was a hole carved out that Billy did for the horses.
Oh, okay, this is where the horses were, huh?
Foot. Yeah.
So
went on
we
foot.
immediately were like, yeah, we're not gonna look for the saddles for the horse. There was no point. I mean, and even Billy was like at the end where we're talking blue team, the correct choice was to not go for the horses because you would just spend too much time looking for the saddles, which orange team did. I mean, they got horses, which was nice. It helped us steal the horses a little bit later, but it definitely caused them to fall behind blue quite a bit because they were looking for that saddle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Pretty much they should have destroyed it. Yeah, it's somewhere around here. Y'all favorite word? Yep. Somewhere is our favorite word. It's amazing. Yu-Gi-Oh's like, Roller and I have bad observational skills in common. Cheese is just straight up, just blunt. You guys would have never found the saddles.
Yeah, I think that it's probably for the best that we didn't bother going and doing another observational challenge.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we probably wouldn't have found the saddles. Yeah, we were just going down the roofs here, and this is where we make our comment like, oh yeah, broken legs, because we're literally jumping off of roofs, alright? This would hurt in real life, okay? Just straight up jumping off like a roof to a roof. This would not be good.
Mentally, I'd like to picture that we're just kind of like somersaulting down the roof.
Oh, you know, okay, so like,
distributing that weight.
if you try to put this in real life perspective, guys, every time we jump off, we do like, you know, your roll to cancel the fall, real life fall damage.
Yeah.
That's totally what we're doing. Amazing parkour.
Alright.
It was wiser for you guys to not go for the horses. You would have lost time for Eagle Slayers to catch up find the saddle chest. Unless you're a pro parkourist, IRL that is. Oh yeah, okay. But yeah, so this was a pretty long walk all the way to the castle, which is why it was really more annoying that we ended up having to go back. Where is the castle? It's right.
I think that you go through here, you go up these tiny staircase things, and then this leads you to the main gate.
Yeah, it's far. It's really far. So we got up here, we're like, oh my gosh, they didn't put their horses in the saddle. Or, their horses in the saddle. Their horses in the stable. Yeah. Apparently, as we saw in the live chat, Orange Team, whose horses they were, actually did put them in the stable, but they kind of just walked out because horses have legs, believe it or not, and they can move around freely. So
yeah, they weren't gated in like you see here. It was just an open fence, so of course the horses were going to wander out. But I moved the horse into the stable, and then I continued going.
Yeah. So we get here, and this is where we have our brain freeze of why isn't the levitation working? Because guess what? You have to be in adventure. We were not in adventure. So that's fun.
So one of us needed to do the challenge, but we weren't sure if you were going to get penalized for not being in the correct game mode when we reached the pit stop. So we both head back and attempt to change our game mode.
Oh yeah, so that's why we both went back, because potentially we could have just had one of us go back. But that's right. We had a fear of we might be penalized for this.
Yeah, so we both grabbed the horses and we rode off in the opposite direction. I actually think that we passed Black Team while they were doing their... Like, they got to the top, and they were looking for the water tower, and that's when we passed them on the horses, which probably confused them.
Yeah. Let's see. George's like, we did put them in the stable. Yeah, we know. We know you guys put them in the stable. Now we do. You guys were responsible.
Grand theft stallion.
So yeah, this is where I disappear for half the leg. Because we go back, we get the horses, we steal them, being the amazing people we are. And we kind of just go back. I should have stayed with Numbers. I don't really know why we split up. But I did not know where to go, and I got very lost. And at one point, I think I just went up the mountain. My horse got stuck. Or actually, no, my horse didn't get stuck. I was on a roof. Oh, wait, you know what? It's coming back to me a little bit now. So, we did stick together a little bit. But when we were going back to wherever the challenge was, I'm kind of lost right now myself because that's what I do. I think it's over here. I got my horse to somewhere like right here, okay? And if I jumped off with my horse, it would have died. So I'm like, I'm just going to leave my horse. Oh, I see you over there. I'm just going to leave my horse here. And then I kind of walked down normally because I didn't want my horse to die, which was a horrible mistake because when I switched my game mode, I was here with no horse and I didn't remember where to go. So pretty much the entire rest of the time, Numbers just takes his horse and he has a good sense of direction apparently. He goes all the way over to the challenge. He starts it and I'm just wandering, trying to find my way back. And this is going to be mostly you talking because I don't know what was going on in the challenge. I was lost trying to find my way back to the castle.
All right. So what was happening is I was hitting the buttons, and then Roller was asking me, "Okay, where are you at? Like, give me coordinates." So I kept giving him the multiple different sets of coordinates as I was going up the castle, trying to get him back here. He was going on foot, so it's a long journey getting over to this castle. Just, oh my goodness. But the levitation parkour, that was fun. Having to spam the buttons constantly up the side. I saw someone in the live chat, they compared it to another challenge that Billy has made in the past.
Okay.
So I'm actually kind of intrigued on seeing what episode or whoever that came into play. We were going along the side of the mountain. We went under an archway like this, and then we continued going up. We got all the way up to the top. And there were some parts where if you failed, you would have fallen down, taken fall damage and died, and you'd have to start all the way back at the beginning. Thankfully, I only failed on the parts where it didn't matter, like on the archway where I could go and I could fix whatever problem I just caused for myself. If you had to restart this, if you failed at every single part, we could have been here for a long, long time. But up
Continue.
Up at the top here, we got to like the very, very top of this balcony area, and then inside there was a clue that said to jump off into the hay bale cart below. Black team, they did it perfectly, but then I think it was Jack that jumped behind them, and then Jack didn't make it. The green NPC that was terrorizing everyone.
Yeah, so by the time he was reading that clue about, oh, okay, we need to get out of here, I had just arrived at the castle. So when I hear the words, go back to where you started, I'm like, are you kidding me? I just got here. I need to go back now? And I'm still lost. I'm not, like, quite at the castle. So Numbers, again, is just going to be like, I'm not going to wait for you, Roller. I'm just going to leave. Which is fine. I think I told him to do that. So he goes to the wherever was next. It's like the boat area, right? Where you get boats or something?
Yeah, I think I grabbed my horse and I go to the boat area, too. At this point, I'm just using the horse for every single purpose of transportation. I tell you, okay, so we're being told to go down the aqueduct area, so try and find an aqueduct.
Yeah, I'm not here still, by the way, guys. I'm not with Numbers. I'm still lost. I'm, like, down the aqueduct. So let's just pretend, for story's sake, that I'm, like, right here. I'm like, oh, yeah, I see an aqueduct. This seems about right. So I was not even with Numbers at this point, even. So I'm like, all right, I'll just wait for you. So Numbers had to go pick me up. He did this all by himself. And then he gets in a boat. He hops in. He drives around here. And then I'm like waiting for him, like, oh, hello. And he's like, all right, hop in, Roller. And then and then we chill down here. Before we continue, I want to read some of these comments. Let's see. Oh, never mind. There's just only one new one. They're just talking about different things. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's, when I'm talking about when I'm lost and stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh's like, negative 500 Q Roller. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, definitely.
So, for some context, the horse that I took, Roller's horse is somewhere off in the distance over there. I don't think anyone ever found it. My horse,
died, to be honest.
My horse is up at the start of the dock area where the boats are. So we're going down this entire stream. We see some lily pads, and I make a comment like, oh, maybe since there's still some lily pads.
Numbers is out here like, okay, Numbers is trying to be like, yo, we could be in first, though. Like the lily pads are still here, man. We could be in first, though. Blue team could have went back. We're in first. And I'm just sitting there, like, being Mr. Pessimistic, the opposite of Numbers. I'm like, bruh, We are not in first. We are in last. Okay, we have not seen anyone. So just our huge contrast right there was like, oh, there's still some lily pads. We could be in first. No one's down here, and I'm like, no, no.
No, no. Okay.
George is like, I'm sad Billy cut out my singing in the boat. Hey, they had everyone singing. Like everyone was singing different songs. It was kind of funny,
Yeah.
except for us.
I mean,
we were not singing.
there was a small part of singing. I think that we were just trying to be optimistic. We weren't singing.
Yeah, I'm not much of a singer though. Anyway, Bean's like, yeah, that's why you need numbers, Roller. You have 0 navigation. True. He is my guide.
Yeah, I was the navigation, Roller was the parkour. All I asked for was like, okay, I'm good at navigation. I just need someone to help me do parkour.
Yes, I'm the parkour person. Do we have to remember where you held my hand the last leg? Where you're like, okay, Roller, you gotta jump here now. Okay, good job, Roller.
First leg where you're waiting 20 minutes for me to finish, and we didn't even need to wait the entire time.
You sound so sad at the end talking about how you lost. Yeah, okay, for context though, I was like 99.9999% certain this was a non-elimination leg. Like, it was in my, I didn't really voice it, but I was pretty sure this was a non-elimination leg. Because unlike you guys, we knew there was 6 episodes, okay?
Yeah.
We knew it was gonna be 6 episodes from the beginning. Billy, I think, tried to fall back. Like, he originally said 6 episodes, and then he tried to fall back and telling everyone, oh, it's only 5, but we know what he originally said. So, by doing quick maths, you can figure out that Leg 4 had to have been the non-elimination leg. So,
unless they were gonna do like a non-elimination finale, but
that's dumb. You're just gonna be like, oh, you win. Never mind. But yeah. But yeah, Cheese, I was a bit sad still. I was like, because Numbers is like, oh, we're doing good, and as we're climbing in this tower here, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're in last place. We haven't seen anybody. And Numbers, you want to talk about what was cut out here?
All right, yes, the big. Oh man. Okay, so this actually wasn't announced in the stream chat, but I messaged Billy in the Amazing Race Discord server that we got with all the cast and crew. This was cut out. I was doing a ladder jump. I think it was to this arm right here. And in the process of jumping, I fall and I die. So my last respawn point was up at the castle.
Oh yeah, that's right. It took so long.
So remember,
if we didn't think we were last at that point, the fact that Numbers died and respawned at the castle was like, well.
There we go.
And what made it worse is you didn't see Black Team even there, did you? When you
nope,
respawned.
They weren't at the castle. I didn't see anyone. So I respawned. Gosh. I went and I went to this area with the boats. Instead of grabbing a boat, I grabbed the super fast horse and I'm running down the hillside.
Nice. Yeah, that was a bit missed. I don't. It was someone in the chat was like, "What if they pull a George?" No offense, George. That's what someone said because George died. And someone's like, "Watch Team Neophytes pull a George," and we actually did, but it was never shown. So we did pull a George. Congratulations.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for that to happen.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of okay. Well, it didn't happen in the actual show, but it did happen when we were playing through. I fell down, I died, and I had to make a clutch horse thievery once again across to the angel statue.
Yu-Gi-Oh's like, Roller complains about someone leaving a horse out of the stables. Also Roller leaves horse on roof. In my defense, it was Numbers who said that statement, but still, it's funny. You could just say our team complained about leaving horses in the stables, and then I just leave my horse on a roof, so don't worry about it.
I took them as far away from the stables as they could go.
Okay. Oh, George didn't die. He fell, so we had it worse than George. Because George just fell.
He fell because he fell in the water. Down there.
Yeah. No, Numbers died, so it was way worse for us.
Fall damage.
Beans like, every episode that you guys lost, Numbers is like, hey, wait, we haven't actually lost an episode, though. We just do really bad. Numbers is like, we are second to last. I don't understand what you're saying, but I'm pretty sure I get what you mean, basically saying how Numbers is optimistic and I'm pessimistic. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I think in our little, like, pit stop confessional, not the actual confessional, but, like, the pit stop one, I'm like, oh, we're second to last. And we gotta just, like, maintain the second to last all the way through, and we can clutch, like, the last one if we need to.
Hashtag clutch team. Yeah, so, George, yeah, I agree. Thank you. Sorry, speaking to George, yeah, thank you for getting the horses. We definitely needed that horse. It helped us. So thank you for allowing us to steal your horse.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
George, I really appreciate your horses. I mean, you struggled with the saddles in the darkness so that we could come out in the light. I appreciate you.
And then at the pit stop, I was genuinely surprised we were not last, because as we were head up, like, if we're not last, the only option is black team is so dang lost that they're just gone, which is exactly what happened. Apparently, they were just nowhere to be seen by anybody. So, but yeah, we get up here, we're like, we're in third. Internally thinking, wow, black team, are you guys okay? What happened this leg? Because we thought we did really bad with our mix up, but again, besides that mix up, our challenges were done pretty good. And numbers,
Yeah.
your performance was good. Your solo performance, this
Solo
leg,
performance.
your solo performance this leg was top notch.
I mean, I did really good with the solo performance until I failed the parkour jump at the end. That really would have costed us if black team was like, neck and neck.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's like, it's 1 a.m. for me. Yeah, I'm surprised you joined us. I knew it was going to be late for you, so thanks for chilling out with us. Was there any last minute things you wanted to say before we allow our guest in? We actually went quite a long time for our segment of the podcast this time.
Yeah, well, there was a lot to talk about, and we kind of had to loop back through a lot of the things that happened.
Does anyone have any last minute questions in the chat? What you continue? What you're going to say?
I don't really have anything that I want to talk about. I think we covered everything.
Okay.
The parkour fail was the most important thing that I wanted to get out for the podcast.
Yeah, that was nice. But yeah, we have another guest. This time it's another, I guess, Neophytes fan or just fan of the show in general, like Wolf was. Luigi.
Yeah, they're going to be ready in about 5 minutes. So.
Oh, is that they just messaged that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to make up something to make up the time. Okay, so Luigi something. What their little like interesting dynamic is they're actually one of the backup team members of the Amazing Race. Ooh, surprising! I know, right? So they have some unique insight on the application process. I think they wanted to share, as well as just talking about different things. So I don't know what they're going to talk about. I'm interested to see them. So they message you they're going to be a little bit, like a couple more minutes. So we need to come up with something to say. In the meantime,
all right.
Look at them dragon eggs. If you right click them, they teleport. Isn't that a fancy mechanic in Minecraft, guys?
I actually have a thing that we can talk about.
Okay.
At the end of each leg, there's an area where people get teleported to. So if you go over to this ship, this is where we were at the end of the leg.
I remember that. And then we went swimming.
Yeah, there were a bunch of boats, and we were like trying to climb up the sails. It was a fun time for us.
I don't think we were teleported at that. Were we teleported there? Because I remember we were like swimming around looking for other boats. I
thought. I think we were told like, oh, like scram out of here by Billy, because we weren't the last team. We were the second to last team, so we had to like make way for the other team, and we just ended up here.
Yeah, basically extra behind the scenes for all legs. We explore, like everyone explores. Like you're sent to a place. The goal is to break free, essentially, break free from your prison and escape. So I think people were just swimming around outside in the water, just chilling. We were all in a voice chat too, just chilling, as we do.
So the first leg, the Harry Potter leg, we were teleported to a tent right outside of the Quidditch area. Which is one thing that I believe Orange Team noticed. They're like, oh, there's a team down there doing parkour. And they're like, oh, I need to go down there. Instead of finding the pit stop, they kind of got diverted by, I think they saw like team down there hopping around. So the second leg, where were we with that? Like, where was our little post leg?
I legitimately have no clue. I don't think there was too much. We were just kind of like trapped in an area. Second leg, you have to remember that we were basically the last team to arrive, so we didn't really do much exploring. We were just on the top of the roof of like that whole area. I'm pretty sure.
And then the third leg, I think that we got put out. Was it in the wilderness? I believe.
I really don't know.
I can't remember, but like that's just some insight. We got teleported to a different area, and we were like with all of the other teams waiting. So if team finished 45 minutes before all the other teams, they were in that area for 45 minutes.
All right, we got our guests ready. Some last limit comments before we get our guest in here. Yu-Gi-Oh! Slayers, like E-Girls, just got lost on about everything. They were having a blast though. Black team was fun to watch. They were just like memeing around. It was great.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, like we found the saddles fast. It was the rules that we got hung up on. Okay, yeah, that's right. You guys were reading the rules wrong and stuff a couple times. Talk about your thoughts on the teams up to this point. Okay, we could kind of go over that really quick in
Okay.
a second. Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, how can I not? Oh, you're talking about for staying up for the podcast. Roller numbers gave me a spot in the podcast. Plus, you love interacting with them live. Hey, we love interacting with you too. Um, that's a really good question, George. Like a really good question. I think I'm gonna hold off on that until a little bit later in the podcast because I want to get Luigi in here.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that we could get Luigi's insight onto what his thoughts of
yeah,
the teams.
exactly. We can get Luigi's thought on that question too. All right, so I'm gonna invite him now. Let's see if we can do this a
Alrighty.
little bit faster than we've been doing. Let's go to their call. Hello.
I'm
I
in.
gotta make sure everyone's volume is good too compared. How you doing, Luigi?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up? All
I'm
right,
gonna
we
be
should
real.
be good. Yeah.
When I said it would be a little longer, it was because I was shoving toast down my throat. I didn't want to be eating on your podcast. That's gonna be confusing time zone wise, just because I'm from the other side of the world. But I didn't want to be rude. So now I'm here.
No, it's all right. Yeah, so Luigi is from Australia, so time was interesting. That's why our podcast time is a bit later. But actually, that's a lot of viewers, so nothing went wrong. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah, it all
joining
worked
us.
out in the end.
Yeah, it all
All
worked
good,
out.
man.
This is the
Glad
most
to be
viewers
here.
we've had on a podcast, I think so.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so let's see. How should we open this? Do you have anything in particular you wanted to share before we get into I don't know some just random things?
We can get into the random things to kind of drive the conversation a bit.
All right.
Alright.
So who are you?
Good question. Very good question. My buddy CJ and I, first off, I think you mentioned a bit earlier in the podcast that we were the backup team, but not even the backup team. We were on the show, basically. Like we were on. CJ and I were Team Vietnam. I think it was like at the time it was an amazing race joke in reference to season 31. But shortly after we got on, and like Billy was like, "Hey guys, so we're gonna be recording in June," and I'm like, awesome! That's actually the month I go away to America for holiday." So from that point on, I came to the realization that we probably weren't gonna be on the show. So then we got demoted to the backup team. So, yikes.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So the reason why you guys weren't in the show is because of scheduling reasons. You guys actually
Yeah,
made it in.
scheduling.
You were chosen.
Yeah, we were in. Do you guys have like a server or anything I can like
Oh yeah.
hop on?
Do you want to give them
Be,
the
like,
IP numbers? It's
kind of like chilling.
1.12.2.
Okay.
Shoot, gotta switch version real quick. But
Yeah, who was the backup
gotcha.
team then before you guys? Like who was the team that made it in?
I'm pretty sure it was Team Sidetracked if I remember
Okay.
correctly.
You hear that,
Oh,
guys?
wow.
Team Sidetracked got in because a team couldn't make it, which is unfortunate.
Well, they
Uh,
seem to be doing alright right now.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, they're definitely
it
a
seems
tough
to have
opponent.
worked out.
mhm.
So that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So what was your guys'? I guess since you made it into the show, your preliminary round. How did that go?
Well, we knew that the other teams were going to be a lot better than us in retrospective. So we kind of went into the prelim with the sense of like, let's just kind of like give it our all, like entertainment wise, like have consistent commentary, and our dynamic as like a friendship will be enough to get us in the show. And I
Mhm.
think we did fine on the prelim anyway. It wasn't like there was anything really hard about it. It was pretty easy from memory. But regardless in that sense, that was kind of our focus on the prelim, and probably would have been our focus in the show as well. There've been like multiple instances of like teams stressing out, and I'm sure that's just like the intensity of the race. But because I've been doing these things for a while, these shows, so
Mhm.
it's easier for me to like handle pressure. You'd think after 5 years like it gets easier,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So I think we can answer that question that Yu-Gi-Oh said a little bit later. Or sorry, George, which is a good question. What are our thoughts on every team so far? I think we'll just go one team at a time. That all three of us can just give a brief thought on it. So we'll start with the team that got out first, which was Peach and Marcus, Green Team. I thought they were pretty cool. I liked them a lot. They were definitely some of the most, like, watching the show, some of the most interesting personalities. Um, their chemistry together was pretty great. It's unfortunate that I got it so fast, but from a competitive standpoint, when they were brought back in Leg 2, Numbers and I were like, okay, so we can win again, which I apologize to
Yeah.
Peach and Marcus. We didn't mean any harm by that. We were just like, they might get out again.
We
because
got
of how,
second to last on that leg, right? So like,
yeah. If
not
it
like a
wasn't for
saving
Green
grace.
Team, we might have gotten out Leg 2, for being real
Yeah,
here. What are your
honestly.
thoughts
So
on Peach and Marcus Numbers?
So Peach and Marcus were again one of my favorite dynamics aside from like the E-Girl Slayers. They just listening to them was entertaining, and I think that they bring something to the show that no other team does, which is like this dynamic of like I guess kind of like being really chill even if they're under a stressful situation.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
What
Like
about you, Luigi?
yeah,
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly in that I think it's funny that Peach is from New Zealand. Like the fact that they're from completely different like places in the world, they were able to like come together, provide a unique dynamic to the race. It provided a interesting first two episodes, definitely a lot more lighthearted compared to some of the other teams.
Mm-hmm. And did I cut you off their Numbers?
no, it's completely fine.
All right. Let's see. The second team that got out, even though they shouldn't have gone out, was Red Team. Let's see. That was YOLO and Frisky, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them as a huge competitor after the first leg, and I was like, I saw them as up there with Blue Team, to be honest with you. And I thought they were pretty. I didn't really know much about them like at all. You have to remember that me and Numbers were brand new to this game show scene. We basically didn't know
Yeah,
anyone, so we weren't really
there were
talking
a
to
couple of
anybody.
people I recognized, but
Yeah.
YOLO was one of them. I didn't really know Frisky that much, but I'd seen YOLO in one of Billy's other shows, so I
Mhm.
knew of him.
Mhm.
Yeah, so when they said that they just couldn't make it, it was like, oh. So I didn't really get much chance to interact with them, but watching The Amazing Race, you get to learn more about. That's kind of funny. Even though we were in the show, we never really learned about these people until we actually watched the show,
Well, yeah,
which is
y'all were
funny.
in like separate calls the whole time, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
So that
I
yeah,
must
think
pretty
have
that
been
much.
interesting.
the group call with them was actually really interesting.
Yeah, I think I'd opt out to not be in the group calls as much. You were in them a bit more, but yeah, Red Team, they're really cool. I really liked how they were in the show, and they were really funny with each other. What about you, Numbers?
Yeah,
Uh, I think that even with their limited time in the show, they provided something like a threat to Blue Team, which we really haven't seen
Hmm.
because Blue Team just dominates almost every single race. I think Orange Team Sidetrack, they attempt to be the thing that like pushes Blue Team over the edge, and it's
Hmm.
they've been getting really close, but Blue
yeah,
Team
they
has
get close.
maintained first every single time. And I
Hmm.
think that with Red Team, it would have given them like a run for their money there. Like they wouldn't be this dominant first place force like
Hmm.
they are.
Yeah, I see that.
You got anything to say about them, Luigi?
I'm pretty similar on the way y'all feel about them. I'm a fan of their dynamic, and it was real. I think I knew that they like got out that way before the episode had come out, but it was still weird to like actually watch it unfold. I guess because it really was just like out of nowhere. It's like, oh well, they're out. I guess like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
only really one other team that can like sub in. So
Uh huh. But yeah, next up would be Pink Team. Let's see, that would be Dan and
Team
Chalky. Chalky and Dan.
Topaz.
Team Topaz. Yeah. I like them. Again, communication with them was never really prevalent, at least for me. I didn't really know anyone, but I guess I kind of like watching the show. Chalky seemed to be more of the person who was more invested than Dan, which is we kind of talked
Well,
about it.
yeah, that's the interesting thing, because like Chalky and I have known each other for probably 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the community like around when I joined, so he's been doing this for a while. And I think Dan is fairly new. I know
Mm-hmm.
they've known each other for a while, But in terms of like the actual like competitive scene, I don't think Dan has played that much. So for him to like, be like a helper or whatever, like chilling with Chalky, and then to like join this huge like big scale thing, I think it was just like a bit of whiplash, and there was just like maybe like not enough preparation to kind of like
Hmm.
handle
Yeah.
those kind of circumstances. That was just how I saw it, but I'm sure they look at it
That's
differently.
some good insight for sure. But yeah, I like their team. Um, I I wish I could have seen more of them. I guess I don't know. I didn't really get to see too much of how they interacted to like gauge like a good opinion on them. Well, a lot they had some fans,
Mm.
so like pretty much every team up to now has fans. So
Yeah, every team, yeah.
props to every team for getting people who I don't know enjoy watching you. I guess. To be
Well,
honest with you, I didn't
I
think
guess
we'd.
thank God.
I don't know. I felt like we weren't like anything special to much of a degree, but apparently people like us, so
Don't
we're
say that.
amazing.
We're
Let's
the
Oh,
be real
underdog
here.
team. We're the team that
got
just barely manages to scrape by. That's
I
unfortunate.
know,
got
right?
people
We're giving.
spamming you, y'all.
If
Come
you're a
on.
fan of Team Neophytes, you're gonna have a heart attack every episode, apparently. So,
It's like a roller coaster, man. It's like
yeah.
you gotta get that dopamine rush. Like every time the second to last, it's like, whew, like, jeez, man.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Was there anything else you
Yeah.
wanted to
But
add
I
on
think,
numbers?
I think that I'm, for the most part, just kind of like indifferent to Pink Team. I didn't
Hmm.
interact with them enough to form an opinion.
Hmm.
And of all the other teams, I think they're like, I don't have a least favorite, but I think like they're definitely like I don't really have much of an opinion on them.
Hmm. Was there anything you want to add in, Luigi? Or
to Team Topaz. I think
yes.
I've
Yeah.
nothing else I can really think of that I haven't already mentioned in regards to them. So I think I'm good.
All right. Next up, we'll just go with Team, which I talked about this a couple times, but is it Team, or is it Team? Because all that's written down is Team, but if you're reading that as it would be read as Neophytes, then it would be Team. But if it's only two teams in their name, then it's Team. Get what I'm saying?
That is
Team
that
Team.
is a handful.
Oh my goodness.
I don't
Yeah.
know which one it
It's one of
is,
those.
but
It's
anyway,
one of those instances where if you say a word enough times, it starts to lose all of its meaning.
they're definitely the champs. Like I respect them. They're really good. They have great communication. They have great one-liners. They're really fun.
Yeah,
It's funny
I'm a
because
fan.
we reference Eglin way more than Unique, but apparently we didn't know this. Unique is more of the well-known person in the community.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But whenever we're talking about Blue Team, we just say Unique. So, or no,
We always
Eglin. We say
Eglin.
Eglin.
Yeah.
So we just kind of sorry, Unique, but we didn't really know who you were. So,
Well,
and
I'm
I
sure
mean,
that like played to your advantage as well. You didn't have like you weren't like shriveling in fear of like, oh my god, unique impact. I don't want to lose to unique. So you kind of like you were
Well,
on
yeah.
like a even playing field, like without having like an ego or anything. So I'm sure
uh,
that played to your advantage, like leading up to where you are now.
yeah, I enjoy watching them. Four first place games in a row. They're insane. They're really cool. What about you, numbers?
okay, so we actually knew through the preliminaries, they actually did a really good job on those, and like they were, like Billy said, they were like one of the fastest teams to do the preliminaries. So we knew that they were going to be a threat going into even the first leg. I think that's what we were afraid of, not of the past reputation, but like what they were doing in the present.
What they were doing in the prelim, just like what you
Yeah.
knew. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we still were concerned, and like we knew that they were. I think we called them the tryhard team, and like, oh, I wonder who's first. Like we have
Yeah,
referenced
well,
them
the
so
stats
many
don't
times.
lie.
Uh-huh. What about you, Luigi?
No, I'm in a similar boat. Like Unique and I, we know each other fairly well. Like we haven't been like speaking as long as like Chalky. I've maybe like known Unique for maybe like 2 or 3 years now, and Eaglin's kind of in a similar boat. But I knew that like they would both be competitive powerhouses. I was in a show a couple years ago that was like fans versus favorites, and the fans got in via like a preliminary, and Unique was one of those people. So I knew that like going into it, Unique was Unique was a powerhouse to be like reckoned with. So I was just like, geez, I'm gonna have to like go up against these fans, and like one of them's Unique, who's like he's in like the top league of like the prelim score. It's like, gosh, so I wonder if it was like a similar kind of mindset there, where it's like, damn, they did really well in the prelim. This is gonna be like gonna have to like bring my aim game here a bit
Oh,
to actually
definitely.
like stand a
Yeah.
chance.
Mhm.
I'm sure it was like a similar wavelength, kinda.
Yep. So let's see. Let's go to Sidetrap next. George and Stig, and this is the team who I personally have interacted the most with. George is in the chat right now, as you can see. So, or at least he was. I've actually outside of
Yeah,
the Amazing
I saw
Rays,
that.
George and has joined a couple of my own things, just random Minecraft things. He's really cool. Stig, I haven't interacted with as much, but from what I've seen and communicated with or seen the show, he seems really nice too. I really like Orange Team. They might be, if I'm I guess I'm allowed to pick favorites. It might be one of my favorite teams besides ourselves, just because I really like the way they work together. They're great friends, and George is really nice. Stig is really nice, and they're good. They're really good because we never see them, so they're better than us. What about you, numbers?
Yeah, I think that Orange Team is definitely the closest thing to the powerhouse that can match Team. They they definitely pick up a lot of the things that we don't really pick up right away, and I think that the observational and just the raw skill that they have, I'm impressed with how far they've come so far,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure.
and I
Yeah.
think that they're definitely going to be one of like the main competitors that we got to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Luigi?
Mm. Yeah, it's I'm in a similar boat, but on the other side of the coin. I don't know George that well. We've played a couple of stuff together. It's like I know of George, and I have for a while. But Stig and I have known each other for a lot longer. I think it would be 4 years at this point. So him and I have known each other for a while, and we've played in like high budget stuff together. So when I like saw that they were going to be in this, that was definitely interesting too. And obviously, like they were the backup team. Like I don't really think of it as like, oh, I wonder if I played, like would we have been better? Because obviously, like we wouldn't have been able to play. So I rather them play than us because like obviously they had that opportunity to show what they're made of. Like they're in the top four, so like that's decent. That's like almost like the middle. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, um, I'm pretty happy with how they're doing right now. I guess they're repping the backup team pretty well. If I want to like shove myself into the into the teams a bit,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm impressed with their performance.
And then last before I want to ask Luigi about our team, we have the black team. So that would be wait, why did I just forget their names for a second? Hold on.
Garrett and
Garen and
Yoru.
Yoru, right. All right. So they're just entertainment, all right? Um
Yeah, absolutely.
I like watching them. They have a lot of just funny humors. They have all the humors. It's pretty great. Skill wise, they've been really good. With the exception of this most recent leg, kind of surprised how we didn't even really see them the entire leg. And watching the playback, they were just memeing around, so it was fun to watch. They seem to, if anyone's gonna take the show more like the most casually, even more so than Green Team, they just kind of roll with the show, which adds a unique
Mm,
perspective. Like they're not really like super competitive about it, which is interesting. It's fun to watch. I like them.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I agree with that.
I think that they're one of my favorite teams. Like you have Orange Team. I think that Black Team is actually my favorite because they just have this kind of energy that makes the show so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a bunch of people taking the show seriously, yeah, that's really fun to watch too. But just having them interject with their scenes, like they, in my opinion, even though they got last this, like they carried the entertainment factor of this show so
Yeah,
much.
I would kind of see that. I can see that. Yeah. What
Mm.
about you, Luigi?
See, I didn't know these guys too well. I knew of one of them from like a friend of mine, but that was like all my knowledge of them. So when I like saw that they were in the cast, I was a bit like skeptical. I was like, okay, like this will be an interesting dynamic. But I've been really enjoying them in the race. So that was a surprising opinion because I had no expectations on like how they would interact with each other. I'd only like known from like word of the mouth, like some parts of their team. So like just because of that, I was like weirded out. But then, like actually watching the episodes, they've been not only well, I guess I can say competitive. They did kind of lose. I mean, it was non-elim, so I guess they're still in. But either way, like it's a blessing. Like I'm enjoying their dynamics. As long as they get another shot, I'm fine with an extra episode with them in it.
Hmm. So yeah, the final team. I'm just gonna direct this one to you, Luigi, because we're biased. How do you feel about Team Neophytes?
Sure. Um, this is an interesting one because like obviously like a couple of friends of mine like not just us obviously. Um, in the comments you'll see like, yes, Stan Roller numbers, you guys are awesome. Like I think that comes from like a personal opinion where it's like obviously like going into the race I thought you guys were the best team. I think it's because like you guys didn't know each other, right? You
Hmm.
just like
Yeah.
got paired up. So like not only that, like that is really like that creates a interesting dynamic from the get-go. And it helps that you guys I guess energetic and enthusiastic throughout the show. And the fact that you like unknowns as well, that will obviously help like with fan reception. Especially like, you know, being around this community for a while. The newcomers in like these type of shows, they're either like hit or miss, and I guess like you guys are a big hit in the sense of you had a lot of like big faces, some unknowns, but you guys were like ultimate ultimate question marks. So I guess it made it interesting to like watch the show so far and just see like, damn, you guys are really like proving your worth so far.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like from my standpoint, that's why I view you guys as the best team in the show.
Wow, I really appreciate that.
And
Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like most people can see where I'm coming from with that like perception.
Those are some nice words, man. Appreciate it. Let's see.
all
Speaking
all
about
good,
like,
man.
I don't think we mentioned this in the first league. We should have, but we didn't know each other at all. So to try our best, it was awkward at first, but to try our best to get to know each other, we played like a Minecraft map together. What map was it? Do you remember?
I forgot what it was. It was like a puzzle map of
Was
some
it?
sort.
Oh,
We
is it
figured out-
Diversity 3 or whatever?
Okay, so we
Is
did
that what it's
we
called?
did two maps. We did
Okay.
a puzzle map to start, and then I think we did Diversity 3 together. And I've never played through either of them before. The
Okay.
Diversity map is a very long map, but we focused on the things
Mm.
that we thought would be coming up in
Like
the Amazing
parkour.
Race. Yeah, we didn't do the boss fight of Diversity really, but we
Yeah.
did parkour, we did puzzle, we did adventure, and I think that was fun.
So yeah, it was a little bit awkward, I think, talking to each other at first, as you do with meeting new people. Like, hey, how are you? Good.
Mm.
Nice. All right. Moving on. But yeah, no, Numbers and I think our personalities meshed together really well, so we
Yeah.
became not so much strangers pretty quickly, which is
And I
really
That's
think
what's
cool.
that our
funny about it.
yeah.
But yeah. Let's see. Well, the chat's been just going on. They're just like talking over there. They got like their own conversation in the chat, talking about different things. Someone wants us to
Oh,
play mini games. Now, I mean, I don't know about podcasts, guys, but I'm pretty sure mini games are not featured in podcasts.
We can do mini games later for another stream.
Yeah, maybe another time,
maybe like
guys.
an after party.
Uh, let's see. Yeah, George was he was appreciative of what we said about their team. Yeah, no problem, man. Was there anything in
All
particular
good.
pertaining to this leg, Luigi, that you wanted to share?
Not that what's already been covered, I'm pretty sure. I had like some pointers, but most of that has already been like talked about. I think like I don't know how familiar y'all are with like the real Amazing Race, but obviously like there are some similarities, but you know when it comes to Minecraft, there are obviously going to be differences. And I think from like the seasons I've watched, sometimes like switching detours can be like a death sentence,
Mm-hmm.
which like technically the team that like tried to switch like lost, but it wasn't that. It was more like the detour this time. It seemed to be spread out. I guess like there was another leg where the detours were right next to each other, and I remember like watching that leg and being like, "Is that like, do they do that in like seasons I haven't seen before?" Because like there's really no penalty in like those kind of legs where it's like you can like switch back and forth if you really wanted to. But this felt like at least to what I've witnessed so far, like a detour where it's like switching very well like could have been like a disaster if you like weren't assessing it like properly.
Mm-hmm. And I realized that was a pointer you just said, but George is like, say your pointers. Was there any other pointers that, even though you feel we covered them, that you wanted to share, just like tips or I don't know, whatever you were gonna point out?
Oh, well, I was gonna bring up the non-elimination like as well,
Okay.
in the sense of like how much you guys were aware of that ahead
Mhm.
of time.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess maybe
we knew
like in
about
the
it.
moment as well.
There was
Yeah,
heavy foreshadowing for the people that we knew it was gonna be a not elimination, but you
Yeah.
know.
yeah, that makes sense.
Let's
I'm
see.
sure like scheduling would have been like frustrating if it was like, because I know that like there was another show that Billy hosted, which was like a Minecraft Survivor, and like I guess scheduling that was really difficult because like obviously we started off with 12 people, so we had to get like everyone together, and that was a process of maybe 7 months to record the show.
Wow.
I don't think it took you guys 7 months to do Amazing Race.
It took a
It
I don't
while
definitely
though.
took us a
really.
while. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think at least 4 or 5 months just to
Mhm.
schedule things.
So still like a yeah, still a huge amount. So that must have been rough. I can only imagine like the frustration if it was like, all right, guys, so thanks for showing up to the recording. We're gonna get the exact same people again because it was a non-elimination leg. So I can only
Actually,
imagine like how
Lakes
upsetting that would have been.
Lakes 4 and 5 were recorded in the same day.
Yeah, I
Oh
wasn't
well,
actually gonna say
thank
that, but
God.
yeah, they were recorded in the same day, so we got the same exact people for
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
thank
Bailey was
thank
pretty much
God,
like
man.
after
Because I was
that.
about to say like, jeez, man,
Yeah,
that would have been rough.
right after that, Bailey was like, "Can we just do another one? We haven't. Do you guys have time? It would make everyone's lives easier." And we're like,
yeah.
"Yes, we do."
How long are
Uh,
your recording sessions? Because like ours were like 3 hours an episode. Obviously, it's
oh,
like a different
nowhere near three
franchise,
hours.
but
Usually the
yeah.
recording sessions are shorter than the episodes, so under an hour
Oh wow,
usually.
that's
I'd probably
helpful then.
say, with the exception of Leg One, because Leg One only because of Peach and Marcus was like like an hour and a half or something stupid like that. I don't know. It was...
I think that if you take the total time of like last team into account, it's around an hour every single time.
But as teams
Mm.
got eliminated, like Leg Four, I think was pretty quick for the most part.
Like
Yeah,
for
fair enough.
yeah, it was.
The episodes are also going to be like longer, 'cause, you know, it's like looping footage. People are in different places at the same time,
Mhm.
so it's like on a timeline sense, a lot of like footage is going to be shown when things are happening like simultaneously.
Mhm.
So they have to like make sure that's on the episode. So it's going to like stretch out the length, but you
Mhm.
kind of have to do that to like get every team's perspective anyway. So you know,
George is
it's
out here with all of the
just
good
editing trigger, I
questions.
guess.
We're
I don't even
we're
open the
pretty
chat.
good on time for the podcast. I think this will be the last question before we end. Unless actually, before we go into this final
Yeah,
question,
that's cool.
Luigi, was there anything you wanted to share? Any like random things before we go into this final question?
I don't think anything particular on my mind I have to bring up. I reckon we've kind of covered everything that we wanted to discuss. So I
Okay.
think we're good.
So
I
George's
suppose we'll
question,
just move
another
on.
great one. Let's try to keep it brief for each team or whatever, because he's like, "What's your
No.
favorite moment from every team?" So
Wow.
we can do the kind of the same thing we did for thoughts, but obviously moments don't have to be as long. So let's see. The first team for pink, green. My favorite moment would be. You guys can be thinking about these two. We're gonna be just going through the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, I'm
They,
thinking.
they were in two legs. I kind of liked how just Peach would just yell Marcus's name all the time, just like Marcus, Marcus. That's probably my favorite. Like whenever she yells Marcus, it's just funny. So that's my favorite moment for Green Team.
I like they were always like so far apart, like the whole time. They were like lost. I don't know. They could never like be in the same spot at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
I really enjoyed when we were on the parkour and they were on the parkour, just how like I think Peach was trying to knock me off one of the parkour posts and I wasn't having any of it.
Yeah. With Red Team, I don't have like they were in the one leg. I don't have a favorite mode of them. I don't think I can't really think of anything in particular. What about you
It's been a
guys?
long time since I saw the footage for Red Team.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Same.
their elimination though, the way that that was set up was kind of amusing. Like the kind of the confessional slash elimination thing for episode 2.
Hmm.
Because
Well,
we
glad
actually
I got
didn't
that
get to
sent
see
off.
that footage. Yeah.
Okay.
It
And
made it a
then
bit like easy to swallow.
yeah, Pink Team favorite moment. Well, my favorite moment is something that probably wasn't even on camera. I was neck and with the parkour in episode 3. I was neck and neck with Dan like the entire time in the parkour, and then I pushed him off, like the savage that I am. I used player collision and I just pushed him off. I was like, that's my favorite moment with him probably.
Yeah, there was a lot of pushing off at the start of the leg.
Oh,
I remember
yeah,
I
I
was
only
pushing
remember.
off Chalky as well, but then I get pushed off. So I think that just having that cycle was one of my favorite moments there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Anything for you, Luigi, on Pink Team? Favorite moment?
I don't know. Their bickering was funny. That was amusing.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know what the. Oh, we did Blue Team next. So Blue Team, team. Favorite moment. Everything they do is just perfection. They don't really mess up. So
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, I can't really like think of like a standout moment. Like, I guess they're a really consistent team.
yeah,
So
they
it's
just
hard
win
to like
everything.
name
Yeah,
anything. Yeah.
um, Orange Team though. They're fun. I'm sorry it seems sidetracked, but when you get sidetracked, that's entertaining to watch. My favorite moment is, I believe, in episode
Yeah, I
3.
agree. I agree.
With the gate, you guys went the complete opposite direction when you could have beat Blue Team. You just went backwards, like all the way to the start of the leg before you realized, well, this is the wrong way. That was pretty
Yeah,
funny to watch.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I like the continuous commitment that they give, like to following around Blue Team. They
Mhm.
do that. The roller coaster tracks, they follow around Blue Team the entire loop around rather than turning back because, maybe they'll find something. They're the team in first after all. And then they do that again this leg where they're just following them up the tree line. I feel like just being that competitive that you're sticking around whatever blue person is in first place, that's really amusing to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anything else, Luigi?
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
Like, I'm a fan of that dynamic.
Mhm.
And then last but not least, we have Black Team. Favorite moment with them? Easily this episode. This whole episode where they're just goofing around. That's my favorite moment on them.
Yeah.
What about you
Yeah,
guys?
they're like, I guess you can't really call it a, well, you can't call it a downfall, but they recovered from it in the sense of like it was a non-elimination leg, but their whole like, I guess, spiral into like last place was like amusing to watch.
Mhm. Yeah.
Any words on that number?
I think that specifically when they go and they fail the detour intentionally, that was just one of the most amusing things to watch this leg.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably my favorite. The specific moment is where they intentionally get kicked off the detour.
Yeah,
And it's
fair
a
enough.
motif that comes up later when the green beast decides to jump off the castle tower with them.
So Luigi, do you have a
Uh,
favorite specific moment on Team Neophytes?
Um, a specific moment. I don't know. It's kind of similar to Blue Team, where it's like, I guess like the whole team as like a whole is like my favorite moment. That is definitely like a cop out, but that's my answer. I don't know. Like I can't really put a
It's all
finger
right,
on it.
man. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't have it like written. I don't have it like written down. Like I sleep on it like every night. You know, it's like
All right, I think this was a pretty successful podcast. We talked about a lot here. We got a lot
Yeah.
of viewers too, chilling out. Thanks for everyone for joining. Was there any final words from either of you two before we wrap it up? Because I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
Yeah, I think I'm good as well.
All right. Thank you guys for joining the episode 4 podcast. Hashtag Neo Squad in the comments. So glad that you guys came and are here watching our amazing podcast of our failures being explained. But yeah, next week at Wednesday will be episode 5. Woo! Excited for that.
Yeah, tune in.
Yeah.
Podcast afterwards. See you later.
I don't- yeah,
Hashtag Neo Squad.
I don't know what we're gonna do the podcast. We kind of just make up times as we go. We might try to get a guest again. I've been
Well-
liking this whole guest thing. Luigi, you've been a good guest.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Check Top of the
I
World Amazing
appreciate it.
Race chat. Roller will post something.
Oh yeah, I'm in the top.
podcast
If you guys want to talk to me, I'm in the Discord, so you guys can always just like DM me or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe like subscribe to Luigi Spanish as well. You know,
Oh yeah,
Of
go and
course,
sub to
yeah.
Luigi Spanish. There you go. But yeah,
yeah,
guys,
it's the
thank
same
you
as
for
the Minecraft IGN.
yeah, thank you guys for joining. this podcast. If you did enjoy, don't forget to drop that like, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Bye-bye.